Welcome to a new spirit that will warm your heart. Welcome to a new spirit. Every day's a brand new start. Where encouraging words can heal your soul and dreams will be renewed. Welcome to a new spirit, a new spirit in you.
What do Wicca and chicken soup have in common? Welcome to the New Spirit radio show by the Society of Novus Spiritus, founded by world-renowned spiritual teacher Sylvia Browne. Today's date is 4/27. That sounds kind of fast. Oh, anyway, 4/27 of 2022. Coming to you live from California, both NorCal and SoCal are your hosts, Reverend Tom Bigley and MIT Catherine Taylor, playing audio segments we call Messages from Spirit. Why? Answering the ultimate question, why are we here and what is our purpose?
These segments are recorded trance sessions from Francine, Sylvia's spirit guide. For new people, Sylvia was a full trance medium, which means Sylvia contracted to let her and Francine's essences exchange places in Sylvia's body. We think of our bodies being similar to a car. One driver gets out and another driver gets in. This allowed Francine to share spiritual knowledge with us directly from the other side.
On occasion, another master teacher and healer, a guide named Rahim, would exchange with Sylvia and present us with spiritual information as well. Francine and Rahim shared directly from sources like the Akashic Records, Mother and Father God, our spirit guides, Christ, and many others.
And meanwhile, during trance, Sylvia would sit on a nice bench in a rose garden on the other side.
And here are our hosts, MIT Catherine Taylor and Reverend Tom Bigley.
Hey!
Hey, how's it going?
It's
We're here.
going good.
All right. And we have what? Do we have anybody listening?
We do. We do have
All
some
right.
people.
Well, that's exciting.
People saying hello. We've got Naomi and Anthony saying hello. Ron,
Howdy
Elizabeth,
do.
Kathy, nice to see you. Kelly, nice to see you. Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, for those of you that are new, a quick agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about how we use Novus philosophy. And so write in the comments, how did you use it?
Yes,
We'll
please.
have a special prayer, a moment of silence for special prayers. We'll talk about the trance segments coming up. We have a meditation. We'll go through some closing notes. And then there's our special ceremony of the novena, special prayer. We'll talk about some appreciation, and then we follow up with a prayer by Sylvia. So listen in on that. Then we close out with our favorite song. Let's see. So that's what we're usually like to talk about, is what did we use in from Novus philosophy here. I gotta go find my notes where I hid them.
Yes.
So, who's going first? We're going to do rock, scissors, paper, or you're going to point us, make a decision?
So why don't I go first? Because I know you have something really cool to talk about that I'm really excited to hear about.
All right.
And mine is not really that cool. So, but that's fine. It's
Don't
totally
discount
fine.
yourself. Don't
Okay.
discount.
Okay. All right. So what did I use of Novus philosophy over this past week? So I have been working on getting my anxiety levels under control in ways that, like, using tools that we have, and that has been a positive. Those have been positive steps. So one thing that I know has worked for me in the past is Rahim mentioned that there is nothing more soothing than eating an onion, and so I said like half an onion a day. It can be raw or cooked. So I really, really like French onion soup. So I made a huge batch of French onion soup, and I've been eating it I've been eating some every day. eating like a bowl or two of French onion soup every day. And I have slept so well. It was amazing. And so I've been sleeping really well this week after I started.
Wow.
French onion soup.
Okay.
So it's really
That's when I'd forgotten that it was soothing for you.
Yeah.
I've had to cut back on, for me, anyway, Was that all the pieces? I hate to interject and cut you off. Okay.
No,
Well,
it's if we're just talking about onions, let's talk about onions.
I put at our one of our grocery stores. Somebody sells pre-chopped jalapeno peppers, onions, tomato, and maybe something else in there, and it's pico de gallo. And I take spoonfuls of that, throw it in before my eggs start, and I get those cooking before the eggs start. And
That's
then I
smart.
throw a big no, a tablespoon of well, teaspoon of chopped garlic on top of that, and get that to cook down before I throw the eggs on top. And I've had to cut back because I'm making too much in the pan. I'm like, oh, I want more onion. I want more onion. It's like, well, by the time I finish throwing in the spinach and everything, there's too much to eat. So, anyway,
Mhm.
just silly. But
It's
that
funny.
was fun. I had forgotten about the calming effect with the onion.
Yeah, yeah. Word for word, Raheem said, "There's nothing more soothing than an onion." Ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
what comes to mind is the humor of, if you were to bite into a raw onion, your tears, the tears that would come from
Oh,
there.
terrible, dreadful,
Yeah.
dreadful. No, no, no,
Uh,
no. Yeah. So that was one thing that I've been doing, and the other is that I been thinking about what Christy Frayne said to me, and I'm in my last reading, which was earlier this the start of the year. And he said that what gets me is having downtime, and that's what will start me starting to get anxious, is if I have too much free time. And so I've been trying to keep myself a little bit more busy with certain um, just certain things, and just trying
yeah.
to trying to I'm just trying to shape the way that I'm thinking about things. So it's um, overall it's been a positive journey, and this week has been really really nice. So
Cool.
yeah,
Good.
the reason why I've been having amped up anxieties is because I'm starting a new business, and it is really kind of uniquely different, saying like,
Yeah.
I cannot blame my boss for anything because I am my own boss. Something goes awry, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm 100% responsible for everything, and that's just a different feeling of having a lot more
Yeah.
responsibility, and it's exhilarating. I'm having a lot of fun with it, uh, but yeah, I'm changing my relationship to how I think about certain things, and just trying to allow myself to feel the accomplishments and feel the positivity of things going well when they are going well. And overall, they are going really well. So
Cool.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
And onion is helping.
And onions help. Slept so good last night. It's great.
Oh, well, that was um well, anyway,
Mhm.
there's so many things to talk about, or we could share, and it's like that would be a
Sure.
show unto itself. Well, I did this, and I can.
Yes. Yes.
Because
Exactly.
you were talking about having a restful sleep. I was like, well, yeah, yeah. Yesterday, I said, okay, you know what? I'm like, I got to go to 2 cities over to get my car finished, worked on, get some things done that I hadn't had done yet, and last time I went, we hung out in you remember Santana Row, the shopping center?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And
that's where we went to
San
hang out.
Jose. Yeah.
Most people may not be familiar with it, and it's a upscale outdoor shopping center in a couple towns over from me, and so we hung out over there for most of the day. That's what we did last time,
Nice.
and I said yesterday, you know what? Let's do the same thing. So we did. We went over there and spent more time than I had planned on, but it took me a while to stop myself and say, okay, forget about what the normal anxiety of, okay, I got to get stuff done. I got to get stuff done. So that was
Yeah.
a challenge for me to recognize one, I'm still running on anxiety when I'm supposed to be hanging out, and allowing myself to hang out. That was the fun challenge. So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
we were there from like 12 o'clock, and they called us at 3. The car was done, and we finished lunch at 4, and went back to get the car. So we were kind of moseying around, hanging around, and that was fun. Got to
Nice.
oh, the other thing that was helpful for me was I went through one of the stores there, the Container Store. Yeah, um,
Oh,
if we want to I say promote somebody, uh, that the that's the place that has all kinds of organizational tools. If you're ever interested and want to get stuff organized in your home, go visit that store. And we probably spend a couple hours in there, like, oh, this is a cool idea, that's a cool idea. And I just let my mind wander at all kinds of stuff just to get an idea instead of being focused with anxiety on trying to solve problems all day. So that was a helpful thing to do, something different, which that wasn't even what I was going to talk about. Novus philosophy. Oh, so last week I talked about needing to white light myself more.
oh
That
yes.
I find, yes, I was saying I felt blessed, and but there's still times I think that I could use more, and I don't do it often enough. And then while I was editing upcoming segments for our show, I think Raheem was mentioning. Now I can point at Raheem because I was just editing for Raheem. Was mentioning that Sylvia would ask for, I guess, I think he said something to the effect of legions of like archangels or archetype protective entities to be around her. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm kind of underdoing things. One, because of who she is, and he's going to talk more about the negativity can't kill you, but it can make you miserable.
Yeah.
And she being who she is, that's what her level of energy. She had to oppose that with protection, knowing that negativity would try and how do you say upscale that, or it would take a lot of negative energy to affect her, but it's out there. It can be done, and so that's why there's a lot of positive energy, a lot of angel energy around her to help protect her, as it were. And I started thinking, well, okay, yeah, I don't have the energy level that she carried with her here, but I could probably use a little more energy around me, more protection, as it were. So that's the thing that's coming to my mind. As we advance, as we learn more, as our spirituality, goes up, so does the negativity. And I for me, it's like a reminder. I've got to get a heavier coat on, bring more,
Yes,
bring more
absolutely.
armor around me. So, um, um, and
So say
see,
everyone, yes.
and and what was it? Oh, because it relates to willpower. It's the negativity easily. Um, how do you say? Cuts the Achilles heel of our willpower.
Mhm.
Makes it more challenging for us. So, hey, food for thought with that, and listen in when Raheem talks about negativity protection and willpower.
Looking forward to it.
Let's
So
see, was that
exciting.
bless out? Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. More white light. Oh, and a fun thing that I learned, in how we've heard about, I believe it's past, and we may hear some future trances here, that Egyptians knew how to do brain surgery.
Oh, yes.
So NPR posted a news article. It says archaeologists have dug up ancient skulls, and based on the I don't want the the damage, or they see evidence of actual mental brain surgery. They've now
Interesting.
the archaeologists feel that these were like cavemen, and in my mind, just because of their idea of the age of the skulls, they they thought it was caveman. So I could understand them scratching their head. Somebody that's more primitive in nature, but they're showing the evidence of the skull was demonstrating that they knew how to do brain surgery. For
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
That is cool. They found evidence. That's awesome.
It wasn't it was expressed in terms of the it wasn't damage. It was actual what nice cut pieces, and you could see that it was trying to heal. There
Mhm.
was evidence that those places that they had done what looked like an incision, or a cut in surgery, that was trying to heal itself. So to them,
So
that
cool.
was a medical procedure, not somebody trying to hurt somebody else.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting. Very,
some
very neat.
fun notes for that. So I've marked that one
Wonderful
for
getting that validation.
future. Yeah.
Mhm. We've got a few people who have shared what they used this past week, so I thought I might read a few comments. Ron says that he used it last week to put some spiritual healing energy to family and friends who needed help, and his sister coded but was revived, thank God, and wait to talk to her about her near-death experience. Yes,
Oh.
yeah. All right. Gibson says, "Hello, everyone. Missed last week, but I think the answer to the question about who Nelda was possibly a Joseph of Arimathea. And I do remember that Joseph of Arimathea was cited as being the person who was very
Yeah.
very integral to getting Jesus out of out to safety after the crucifixion.
It
He
was, yeah,
survived.
I recall.
Yes.
That sounds familiar. That he was I think, or recall,
Wealthy.
a wealthy merchant, and he
I thought he had a
traveled.
mine or something. Yeah,
What's that?
I thought he had some like metal mine or something like that. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay. But he also had ties up in that I recall. He had ties up in Scotland too, so he got
yes,
around and.
yes.
But then, yeah, ultimately helped um, smuggle him out, for
Yeah,
lack of a
smuggled
better
Jesus
term.
out, helped him smuggle out. That's wild. And we've got a request for help. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts, Tom. Lori says that marriage is on the rocks and has been afraid. She's afraid to be alone. We've been married for 42 years and I don't want to lose him, but at the same time, I don't want to keep him if he's going to hate me. So,
Mm.
yeah, do you have any thoughts?
Well, it's one, start with yourself and asking for, cementing your emotion and intellect. Yes, it is challenging in the circumstance. And find out, and also, ask for his emotion and intellect to be cemented as well. So picture white light around both of you so that there's, neutralize any negativity. That's on a spiritual level. Um, Another thing too is meditate, and this isn't going to adjust what they ultimately do. Uh, um, you're just going to have to take the steps to do what you can, the best you can with this given situation, and see what the circumstances, how they work out. You can do a meditation and picture them in that ornate mirror, the long dress mirror, and verbalize your concerns. Express your what you'd like and your concerns. And of course, take a moment and see if anything there's some kind of response from them through that mirror. You're not going to share this with them. It's between you and it's that in that meditation. Um, the other thing too is get some counseling. Find someone that you trust and work together. The Sometimes the challenge is the other person doesn't want to do anything. They don't feel that there's a need. They don't feel that they're in a wrong. They don't feel and then they're just in their own. Uh, um, I don't know the circumstances. I'm not sure, who's saying what about what, and what the feelings are, and why there's disconnect. But a good marriage counselor is a good step as moderation, and helping each of you identify. Okay, here's how we start communicating again, and uh, uh, you know bring ourselves back together, if that's. But it's got to be both of you got to want to do it.
All right, great.
But yes, we will. We'll put prayers in when we do our. We haven't even
Absolutely.
gotten there yet. The moment of silence. That we'll
Let's
put
try.
energy out for both of you. That
Definitely.
the best comes out.
Absolutely. Well, shall we move on to special prayers then?
Sure.
Okay.
So we've had that one expressed. If anybody else has special prayers they'd like to express, put them in. Yell them out loud if you want, just to get start that uh, expressing it, expelling it, getting that energy out. You can do petitions. You can go to the website and post it on the what's it called?
Prayer chain?
Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. I listen. Some of these phrases are like
Help
anyway.
each other out. We help
Yeah.
each other. It's okay.
Get that energy out in some form, as best you know how, and in the meantime, we're all going to stop for a moment, and we're going to have a moment of silence, and put our energy out, and ask Mother God, ask the archangels to get in there and help out, in whatever form they can. Visualize the outcome that you want, and and ask for the best outcome. So let's take a moment of silence. Oh man.
Amen.
And of course, be the prayer. If you see a need, fill it. Let's see. We've been doing pretty good about that. So what's next? I know there's some people listening on our conference call, but if you have a challenge
Oh,
of streaming live, and with all the video and all that fun stuff, if you have a challenge with that, or you're in your car, maybe it's not good to watch the video, but you can call into our conference call and listen to the audio of this while we are live. So yeah, at the moment while we're live, but when I go back and listen to this, I won't be live. So how does that work? I don't know. But the phone call you can call for the conference is 888-534-2696. So when we get on, and if you get on early, I have to start it way before the show, so we have everything set up. And you call in, you're welcome to call in, but you'll hear us making noises with each other, and chatting. And we may even chat with you if we get a moment. So you're welcome to hang out there and listen. Oh, but please keep muted during the show. Okay, that leaves us with
new segment. New
yes,
trance.
yes. This is a new trance segment.
Rahim. We haven't heard from Rahim in months. This is great. This is so cool. So we are going to. Oh, and my notes didn't change that we're listening to Rahim. Oh my goodness, hot mess. So we are listening to him starting to talk about healing. Anyone can do healings. Healing is a freely given ability from God. You do not have to be ordained to be a healer. If your inner masculine side is stronger for you, put your right hand on the afflicted area and your left hand on top of your right. And reverse if you're primarily feeling more feminine. Then we're going to hear a little bit about Wicca and also about the healing properties of chicken soup.
Cool. Now, for those that are new on here, we've been listening to Francine, who's Sylvia's main spirit guide when she was in life, and Rahim is also a communicating guide that has, how do you say, stepped in as Francine does, as we described Francine does. And he's been around for a long time. We know from past trances that he is, what, I want to say on the board. What's the? I'm trying to think of the who are those elites that from Nuvo?
Council?
Thank you. He's on council, and he's um, speaks a little different. Yes, it's still Sylvia's body, but you'll notice that the the the
Dialect's different.
thank you. Yeah, the speech pattern and the personality is different. So you'll get to hear that. So here, enjoy, take notes, and love to hear what he's gonna say. My mouse is just like not paying attention here. Okay, here we go. Take notes.
And greetings to you. And greetings to you.
Welcome back.
Welcome, Ryan. It's been a long time.
It certainly has.
Yes. I want to talk to you tonight in depth of healing. In very ancient times, healing was thought to be the mystical powers that were given to the individual. As time progressed, something happened. And only a few people were allowed to be healers, only because they seemed to have been deemed by God. Now that should be understood. What this did, however, was cut down on the people that had the ability to heal. Because unless they were appointed by their tribe or their hierarchy, then they could not heal. What I am here to tell you tonight is anyone can. Now, I know you've heard this before, but take it literally. It is not an appointment from God. It is a freely given ability. Not only can everyone heal, but everyone should. It is one of the few attributes of life that allows you to internalize this ability. By that I mean you can heal yourself. If your energy is combined with another one or another person who is pure of heart. Now we will explain that because you always hear of the pure of heart. It makes it even more doubly effective. If you say to yourself, I wish to be a healer, and begin to operate on that level of healing. Now, naturally, there are some, like anything else, that have more confidence in it, and thereby it comes in stronger. But please get out of the notion that you must be told by any living person that you can or cannot, because you can. As Sylvia always says, the operative word is not only may, but can, should do healings. If you are in a state of pain, naturally, a physician is the person to be called. But to put yourself into a level very much like you have in your world, the controlled breathing of Lamaze, the ability to put pain away from yourself, the ability of the female to put the left hand on any part of her body and the right hand over. The male should have the right hand and the left hand over. On any part of your body, whether it's your chest, your abdominal area, your back, and even in the effect of having you, being a female, putting your hand on yourself, putting your other hand over, and then let someone else put their hand over yours, left, right, or right, left, depending on what sex you are, or let's even say what sex you wish to be, which will make it more effective, or what sex you feel you are. If you feel more on the masculine side of yourself, then I would recommend that you use the right hand first. That has nothing to do with your predilection of loving. It has to do with if your masculine side is stronger, or you feel that your feminine side is stronger, then use that. And I would advise that possibly you would use at different intervals both to see which one brings you the most energy. And have the person respond to you and say, I feel the energy stronger the first time or the second time you did it. And this only takes a few minutes. I sometimes am in observance long after Sylvia or any lead of some of the healings that go on, and they go on too long. When you reach up to open a water trap, it doesn't trickle, it pours. And so to stand there and only expect a trickle, that's all you'll get. You should really think of it as being a trap door by which you can reach up and it pours through you. And how long does that take? A few minutes. Not seconds, but a few minutes. But this lengthy, long procedure of having people sit, because it's like anything else. In the first few minutes is where the rapid healing occurs, not in the 10 minutes, 5 minutes. If it goes beyond that, then you've probably lost the person. The person becomes very agitated, very uncomfortable sitting for that length of time. Now, we do know that by nature and genetics, because it has not been ruled out of their culture, is many of what you call your primitive tribes, which we've all laughed about that, is that there are no primitive tribes unless you want to talk about this continent, which is probably the most primitive, in ignorance. In many of your, let's say, ancient cultures, and few have survived, such as your American Indian culture, your Eskimo cultures, your Hawaiian cultures, some of your Celtic cultures have kept a structure of knowing that they could heal. Now, many of them have gone into the Wicca movement, or kept it for many years, and I don't know whether you know this or not, but you should probably. If you do, then just bear with me. Some of the oldest remedies come from not only your herbalist, but from your Wiccist. These were the original, or let's say as far back as you know, not the original Gnostic, but the original Mother Goddess healers. These were men. Unfortunately, as Sylvia's talked about, they were branded as either witches or warlocks. That was unfortunate, because what they did have was herbal knowledge, mustard plasters, all kinds of cathartic medicines, all types of, in fact, looking back, you can see that chicken soup is a great boon. And it's not just a placebo, it really has an enzyme in it that really, really helps, especially if it's cooked with bone, with the bone of the chicken, and simmered for a long time. The juices of that have been known to even cure all kinds of dysentery, dyspepsia, and they're finding now that some of these old remedies, such as Sylvia has mentioned, that mother's milk now is going to be used for certain types of cancer, because the enzymes within these different foods have a marvelous antibacterial or antiviral.
My mouse is a little skittish here, so I'm like across the screen.
Oh no.
How do I get the thing? Click on the wrong thing. Anyway, so the fun thing is bone broth. You can buy it now in cartons, so it's not just you're not just getting the chicken broth that is very common for cooking. You know, baking a chicken. You throw in well, that's what I recall for recipes. You throw a can or so of chicken broth in to help moisturize your baking chicken. Or if you're cooking something else, you want to throw. But you can actually get bone broth now, which to me is like, okay, that's up on the protein side because they boiled out stuff. And I've also heard that that's a fun, how do you say, or acceptable drink when you're on fasting on a fasting program. You're limited on what you can eat, but you can drink like teas and things like that supposedly to keep hydrated. And I know one person that was drinking bone broth, and I thought, oh well, that's what's the right term? That's a little beyond what I would be willing to do. But they're drinking straight bone broth. But I've mixed it with stuff. When I make soups or things like that, I pour out half the chicken soup and replace it with bone broth for fun, just to add some more, not just texture but content to the soup.
Yeah. We just had a question related to this. Naomi asks, does Francine or Raheem mention fasting advice? And yes, they have in the past. What I recall is that and I can't remember which one of them gave this talk, my apologies, but they said that fasting once a week is really, really beneficial, and it helps reset people's blood sugar problems. So someone followed up by asking, like, well, what about fasting like more days of a week than just one? They said, like, no, with the amount of like energy that you need for the type of lifestyle that we lead, you only want to fast for one day. So that's what they recommended. But I really think that thought that it was important to like pay attention to the fact that they said like resetting. What was it? They said
Blood sugar.
Resetting blood sugar. Thank you so much. And also they said that the point is to let the enzymes in your stomach rest. So I'm like, okay, that to me suggests like not having anything in my stomach except for water, or maybe like one extra thing that might be cleansing. So that's just something to keep in mind, and I will try to find what show that is in. But it was certainly a while in the past. I'll try to look it up next when we're listening to our next segment.
All right. That was fun. What was it? Fasting and that reminds me of like Ramadan is daily fasting, and I stop and think, wow, that's a challenge unto itself. Just because I'm not acclimated, I wasn't raised with it, so. But I appreciate the challenge that makes for those people that celebrate Ramadan. And what was the other one? Oh, one of the reasons so not just a daily fasting, but it's suggested to not eat anything. I think it's after like 8 o'clock at night. So if you get up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, don't eat anything after 8 o'clock at night, because that's giving your system a rest. And that's why we call it breakfast. In the morning, we call it breakfast. So some other helpful suggestions. I know I recall watching the commercials that show people up in the middle of the night at midnight open the refrigerator like, oh, I'm hungry, what am I going to eat? Well, that's if you want to gain weight, that's a method of helping with that. But yeah, we want to encourage our. Oh, and somebody was asking. I just happened to catch in the comments. What is? Remember? Oh, somebody, and I'm curious where this listener had heard it, that Rahim is still known to this day in India. Yes, that is a valid point that Rahim has brought up in trance, that he is still known and revered to this day from his time when he had life in India. I would be curious who knows it and who is that, because it would be interesting to speak with those people and say, does this person, share with them the a trans segment with Rahim and see if that clicks for them, if that resonates with them, that sounds like him to them, would be interesting, and just show, hey, we think this is who this is, and see what they say.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Fun. Glad you brought that point up. We'd be curious what organization, what in India, what group still believes in that, or how do you say, reveres him or recognizes and recalls him from in the past.
Yes, and to my knowledge, Effie, I am not aware of him mentioning going by another name. So it's
right.
I don't know.
I don't think he did. I don't recall that he did. I think it was. We know him as Rahim, and I think he's known as that as well. And a fun point he made was he told people when he was in life that he was going to come back as a woman. through I don't know if he said as a woman or through a woman, but the point is he would communicate via a woman the next time he came back. That was his prediction at it in that lifetime. So fun connection.
Definitely. I want to highlight one thing that he talked about in the segment we just listened to. He said that if you have confidence that you can heal, then it comes then the ability comes a lot easier. And he's talked about this in a lot of other aspects about how important willpower is. And so if you are just starting out on trying to heal, whether yourself or someone else or a pet, loved one, just take a breath and let it sink in that God gave all of us this ability. We all have the ability to use energy. We are all created of energy. We all have an aura. We all have electromagnetic things that science can, measure. We all have electricity. We all have this ability. So just let it sink in, calm yourself down, and really visualize it and say, I am going to use this. I'm going to do this. I have this ability. It is okay. And just visualize it.
Oh,
be confident.
Things. Yes.
Well,
you will. The more you do it, the more confidence you'll gain in it, and you'll get more experiences. So, as you're talking about this, I'm like, I got something else too, and I'm like, okay, minister training 101. So that made another thing I got to talk about: minister training, which I don't remember when I'm supposed to mention that here, but so that's one thing. But the other one is. So in minister training, what we are taught is, in addition to, with these trance segments, because we have, we can do healing classes too. So when you want to heal somebody, do a general healing, and what we do at church services, when we have in-person church services, the person that wants a healing sits in a chair, you stand behind them, and based on your energy level, and that's what Rahim was talking about, whether you feel more stronger, masculine or feminine, no, masculine and feminine. You making up words as we go here. See, I said I'm not speaking in tongues. My tongue's not
Feminine,
speaking. Yeah,
feminine, you put your left hand forward.
first. You put the
Yes.
left hand down first. So
Yes.
to do a simple hands-on healing, the person's that wants the healing sits on a chair in front of you. You stand behind them, and then if you're more feminine, your left hand goes down on top of their head first. If you're masculine, the right hand goes down on top of exactly like that. I guess you could do it that way. And you just place your hands on their head and you say, "Hit it, God." Now, what you want to visualize, you're just a tube. You are not the perpetrator. No, that's a poor word. You're not the perpetrator of the
Yes.
energy.
You're
You're
not
asking
the source of the energy. You
exactly.
are the conduit.
Yes,
Yes.
you're a conduit. Picture yourself, imagine yourself you're the tube for that energy to flow through. You're asking for God's energy to come through you, go through your hands, and give this person a wallop. A healing energy, basically, a healing. A fun thing you can do to practice is one, do it to more people more often and ask for that energy to come through you. Two, while they're healing, you visualize going through their physical body and look for in your mind and imagine or visualize their physical body, and as you visualize going down through inside of it, what are there dark spaces, are there something look off, or you're starting to build your healing ability, and you're developing your psychic ability as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a simple healing technique and something to practice. And if you get a sense that, oh my gosh, there's something that kind of looks or feels wrong around their stomach, stop when you're done after a few moments. Stop and talk with them. Hey, do you feel something like your stomach is bothering or irritating you? And of course, when you sense that, give it an extra shot of white light or healing energy. Green, green is for healing, so picture that as well. And again, you don't have to spend 10 minutes there, because you'll probably they'll probably fall asleep under you. It's just take a few moments and say, "Hit it."
Absolutely. I'll share one comment and then maybe we can move on to the next segment. Naomi shares, I have used healing hands. I visualized my hands taking the cancer out of someone who lived an hour away, twice a day for 2 weeks. The cancer disappeared. I told them I was doing it, and of course I asked God for help.
Cool.
So,
Yes.
it's totally possible to do these things. Anybody can do them. That's amazing. And you can absolutely do these. Some illnesses are contracted. Okay. So there's that issue. So some illnesses are contracted, but you want to get, but that doesn't mean that it can't be like minimized or mitigated.
Right. Right.
So like I had a contracted illness that was just ridiculously difficult to deal with, but healing helped. And Francine, I got to ask her a question in person once, and she provided me with some information that cut the pain levels in half. And I still had to do the rest of the contracted illness, and that's fine. I'm fine now, but healing does work. Just believe in yourself. It's okay. That's awesome.
Fun. I'm glad you all brought those things up. I got that. Oh, well, I covered my points.
Okay, should I read the next segment then?
Is this for number 2?
For number 2, yes. Okay,
Okay.
so we have The definition of killer stress. Woo. All right. Boredom is the worst stress. When willpower breaks, then antibodies stop fighting. Passion keeps you healthy. Jesus has said, hate wrongdoing and hate evil. And when you're controlled, it brings about depression.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Take notes.
We'll talk.
No one has ever discerned the fact that cancer is viral. Most medical have professed profusely that it is systemic. I'm here to tell you that it is only systemic in the aspect that you can only lower your system to the fact that you will get it. And every single person in this room at any given time, and this may frighten you and it shouldn't, has had through their lifetimes, if you've lived to be at least 40, have had minor strokes. You've had all types of eurythmia, heart palpitations, strange things happening, possibly ulcerations of the colon at any given time, also have produced cancer cells. Now, what happens is your own body's antibodies attack these. And one of the ways, and I know you've heard this a lot of times, is to stay away from stress. Now let me tell you what kind of stress. Because we're too much involved in the worry of stress. And we're making people so fearful over stress that they're stressing about stressing. The stress of taking care of a loved one is not a stress. It is an irritation, it's an aggravation, and it's a painful process. It is not stress. The everyday living in a job that is meaningless or too much is not stress. Boredom is stress. It is the worst stress that could ever be perpetuated upon human beings. The other stress is malaise, the inactivity, the giving up of life, so to speak, the lack of passion in life, the lack of never looking forward to whatever will come next. So you see someone running around, frantically trying to get something done, worried about finances, trying to be concerned about a job, a marriage. That's not the stress that will kill you. Strangely enough, it's a stress of nothingness that kills you. The stress of what am I doing, why am I here? Now everyone can go through this at any given time. We know this as human beings. I did it in my life, you've done it in yours. But when it goes on year after year, and I'll tell you why this is so dangerous, because the will succumbs. The will breaks. And when the will breaks, we've seen it happen within the body, because we have x-ray vision, you don't, is the antibodies also weaken. Nothing fights, because this is the ruler. This is the king of this whole dominion. And when this begins to, you say, but I've been depressed, I've been agitated, I've been irritated, I have bad dreams, I have nightmares, I'm phobic, I'm obsessive. That will not kill you. What kills you is no longer having any obsessions. no longer having maybe anything to be fearful. It's what we call the flat line. And guess what happens when you die? You flat line. And that is a mirror of what you can do in your life. So when you're running around and you hear people say to you, because people can give you very negative implants. They give you implants of how tired you look, how much you're doing, aren't you worn out? Don't let those negative implants come into you. And I'm here to tell you some of the most awful implants that we've seen is from the medical profession. Now, I'm not knocking them because you must go and see a doctor. But if they tell you something is horribly wrong with you, you must then make the decision whether you're going to take the treatment or not. It's like Sylvia says so many times, take control back to yourself. And the non-entity living is what is the killer. And if it were not so, let us say this. If I were to tell you you had 67, 77, 87 years, 97 years, would you want it to be lived with activity, passion, and hecticness rather than malaise and boredom? Even if it was frenetic and frantic, wouldn't it be better to live that life of frantic freneticness, or even of sorrow, because that's an action movement, at least, or in mourning, because at least that's also an action emotion. You're doing something with your mind. When your mind begins to not care, when your mind goes into the flat level of total abysmal depression, that's when the killer strikes. And it's not just the cancer we're addressing. We're talking about all kinds of viral, bacterial infections. And so, I'm here to say, with that preface, and it's not a theory, it's fact, then your body is left open. See, because we've been told that if we hate, if we have anger, we'll get cancer. Yes, if you submerge it. But I must remind you that our Lord said, hate wrongdoing and hate evil. What the so-called Christian philosophy has been, do never be angry. Do not ever subject yourself to hatred. Always be passive. You see, passiveness meant you must be controlled then. And when you are controlled, this brings about depression, and you're easier to be herded around. But if you're full of passion and ideas and free thinking, as Gnostics are, you do not want to be controlled. You may be led or want knowledge, but you do not want to be controlled. And that's where, and we hope to bring you to the passion of your own spiritual journey. That's the most passionate. Tomorrow I will learn. Tomorrow I will see. Tomorrow I will feel.
And that's makes this the magnificent obsession that it is. Wanting to know more, sparks your spirit and says, "Hey, tell me more." And I remind people, this is like puzzle pieces. You're going to get more and more puzzle pieces. Those will connect some, and then you'll get some more, and those will connect, and it's like, oh, now I got a bigger picture of myself and what is true for me.
Yeah, what makes sense to you? If I always picture that our souls are a treasure chest, and that every time we learn something new that feels like I learned something new about myself, whether it be through a spiritual discussion or something that we've learned from experience, it's exactly like finding something else that's in the treasure chest. And so like the journey is just, you're just accumulating these beautiful treasures of patience and love and compassion and tolerance and standing up for yourself and self-worth. And it's just it's so much beauty. And I just think this is so cool how what Raheem is saying is that keeping in touch with those things is the surest way to stay alive, and to also stay healthy, is to just keep tuning in to your own journey of self-discovery and self-curiosity about yourself and about your own life and about your loved ones and about God. Yeah, it's cool.
Yep.
It's such a cool talk. Such a cool talk.
Fun way to express that. And what came to mind, talking about Francine on occasion will talk about spiritual sloth, meaning you're not doing anything. You're not activating. What does a sloth do? It just is really slow. Well, that's her analogy of not activating, not moving, or not being, well, for maybe not being Gnostic, but not being a seeker, not activating. And what came to mind was prison, solitude in prison is now. I'm sure it's been talked about for several years, but it's now, how to say, becoming more prominent. That's very, creates very poor mental health when people are stuck in solitary confinement and no input, no connection, no anything. And it reminds me of some stories where what got people through was their own persistence and their own persistence, but self-discipline. Thank you. That's the word. Mental self-discipline, and kept their mind active while in situations like that. Help them stay positive and mentally healthy. Go ahead. I got 2 more points, but you got one.
Okay.
Sure.
I've got one point. So I thought it was really fascinating of Raheem's point that Jesus said, hate wrongdoing. And I was like, so now I want to go try to find where that quote is and see what the anecdote and the scenario was where he was talking about that. Because Raheem has told us in the past that hate is when you cannot tolerate something anymore. You can, excuse me, you can no longer cope with something anymore.
Yeah.
So I just want to do a little, just kind of like contemplation about that. Like, I can't cope with wrongdoing. I think that that's probably accurate. That's like, if that's the direction, is to not cope with wrongdoing and to have to find some sort of way to
activate against it.
To activate against it,
right?
Yeah.
Don't just,
rather than being passive with it.
Exactly. Yeah. That sounds more plausible, or
Absolutely. That's what I'm thinking that's about. So I want to read what that anecdote was to see what scenario Jesus was talking about, just to get a little bit more insight. But that's just like interesting. He said, hate wrongdoing. What is that? Okay. What does that mean?
Judge the action, not the person.
Judge the action, not the person. Exactly. So what were your 2 points that came up for you?
So no, of course I can't. We're gonna say this a lot, but anyway, it's like,
all right,
almost,
let's do it.
To me, I'm hoping this doesn't sound old, but anyway, somebody, Raheem or Francine, had talked about if you're not in action, if your body's not in motion, it thinks it's dead. So no, not when you're sick, not when you're ill, but if you're not activating yourself, the physical body. You know what? That almost resonates with Raheem. If you're not moving, your body thinks it's dead.
Interesting.
And at the very beginning, Raheem was talking about, and this is the ruler. And I'm like, what? What? Well, we can't see him because he's in audio. And I was imagining it was him pointing at his head. But that's, to my understanding, that's what he was referencing. The brain is the master. The brain is the ruler. It's, what we think.
That makes sense.
We can think ourselves healed and we can think ourselves ill.
Interesting. All right. Good things to contemplate. And of course, if anyone has any questions or comments, please say something in chat. We'd love reading them. All right. So for our last segment, we're going to be talking about fear produces a catharsis. Why people look at accidents. Do things that get your passion moving. Fight the mundaneness of life. Taking joy from writing journals. And someone can come back from terrible illness. And then some of his thoughts on when to use chemotherapy.
Cool. All right. Take note.
Even to state something that I'm not particularly fond of, but I have to give them credit. Even in the fundamental realms, at least they're passionate enough about the devil to keep themselves alive. And so at least they've given them some passion to always be fighting these evil, dark, red people that stand in the corner with horns. So at least they've given them that. But in that is an insidious seduction. And I'll tell you why. People, by and large, we have found over all the centuries, for some reason, love to be scared. There's something about the human being that loves to be scared. And I'll tell you what happens to your biochemistry when you're frightened. You throw out a great deal of endorphins that your adrenals put out, and you get rid of a lot of your, let's say, stuff. That's why some people like horror movies, because they can scream and throw themselves around. I can't look, and yet they do, and all that business. Because they can give out this catharsis. It's like running a mile. You sweat profusely. You're worried, oh no, this can't happen, and you get all agitated, and it gets you away from your mind. I'm not purporting that you people do this, but that's why Halloween has always been such a big time. Do you remember as a child the haunted house, the spooky place, the fun ride in which you go down really fast, the roller coaster? Human beings, by and large, love to be frightened. They also, for some reason, like to watch or see, not all of you, accidents. And it's a tremendous fascination. It's not because people are sadistic or masochistic, but some people get a catharsis from this. And Sylvia addressed this in one of her shows, and it's called survivor's guilt. I'm sorry that I'm enjoying this, but I am. I'm sorry that I've survived, but I'm glad. None of this is bad. So once in a while, you might try not scaring yourself, but making yourself at least excited enough. And I don't mean in a negative way, because sometimes I think frightening is bad, but doing something so passionately, sometimes out of character, that you're going to get your endorphins moving, because your lives are too placid. Even sometimes, although it's not very wise in this time frame for you all to go walking in the dark, but if you took a group it would be all right. So sometimes walk or do something, anything that's different, anything that's with adventure. Go to a restaurant and eat alone, even as small as that is. It's an adventure, something that you've decided to do. Because the mundaneness of life is what can just throw you. If you get passionate about your religious or your spiritual beliefs, you don't have to worry about it. You become totally embroiled, and as the scribes call it, the euphoria of the written word. And it is. Even if you find tremendous joy in journal writing, which I think you all should do anyway, because I think one day your journals will come together and make it, not for many, many centuries, because we don't have that, but for those that come after you, that you were the pioneers. And so the journals that you write, not to make you self-conscious, but you should write down, this is my belief, this is what I found out, this is what I'm carrying with me, this is what I'm aspiring to. You might be surprised, though it's too personal. You have never written anything or felt anything that your forebears have not done or thought of. You may think you've come upon a new idea. There is nothing new under this sun. And I'm sure there is nothing new under any sun. That human beings in a human form have not thought, and probably thought about it better than you. And possibly did it with more exquisite sinfulness than you could ever think of. The chemistry of the physical body, and I know we have been very much into the cell memory, which is fascinating, but you can, and I'm here to tell you, can reverse almost anything at any point of time by the will judgment center. I don't care how badly a person is at death's door, so to speak. I don't care how badly the body may have gone totally in, let's say, even renal failure. If the will is engaged. Now, be very careful, though, that in the healing aspect, going to our first premise, is that you're not overriding the will. Now, not that that's bad if you do, but be very careful that you're not holding on to someone out of your own will's need, your own will's need. Sylvia was privy to this last week. She gets the most horrendous jobs. To be, as I said, privy to this couple that she's known for many years, this doctor who is seemingly dying. They put a pump in his belly button now so they can administer chemotherapy directly to the liver. You see, the treatment that you have in your society is probably what we find to be the most barbaric. It's not that we're against it, we just find it to be terribly barbaric. And there is no dignity in dying anymore. If any of you can tell anyone, a person who is in dire straits, I don't mean a woman who has had breast cancer, that they don't give her chemotherapy just as an insurance policy, it's necessarily that bad, although I just happen to, and I must preface this by saying, I myself, not to influence you in any way, do not believe in it. The reason why, and I would ask any of you to tell me of one person, statistically, you know of, that has been saved by that.
By chemo.
If, let's say that, hypothetically, there is a woman that's in the door. There is not, but let's use a woman in the door. And let's say she's had breast cancer. And the doctors have decided to use chemo as an insurance because maybe they found one lymph node. And maybe they've used a light chemo, as they say, for an insurance policy. Well, that makes sense because it never was going to go anywhere anyway. A person who has it in a major organ and they use it is what I'm saying. Have you ever known it to work? And what is even more horrifying is radiation. Because radiation, as you will back me up on this, Roger, kills all cells surrounding, and they don't have it refined. This is by no means to dissuade you if you're thinking about it. I'm just telling you what we see, and I want you to become somewhat of a statistician in your own right. Look at these things objectively. Look at them through righteous eyes of a person with logic would look. We're not Christian Science, although they have a lot of great ideas, because we've always believed, and Sylvia, more than the rest of us, has been very, very, as you know, presupposed to Western medicine. She certainly has never been for chemo.
So do something different with passion. What came to mind was
Yes.
join an improv class.
Oh, fun. You've done that, right?
Yeah, I did that. I went
Oh,
through.
that's so
I
cool.
can't remember if it was 2 or 3 classes that I went through with our local improv company that we have here in our area. But that was
Cool.
fun, and that's it. There's so much going on there, and I have a big respect for what they do, and but also the fun benefits you get from the exercise. I mean, it's like you don't just get up and start doing stuff. There's some fun exercises that people do to hone the skill. You know, just like baseball players or football players, they've got exercises they do to hone their skills. So too with improv. People that do improv, there's some fun games that you play to one, get you excited, start stimulate, and but also to hone in on that definitely can keep you fun, active, and it's a social thing too because you do it with a group of people.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to keep that in mind for one day. I've been doing Dungeons and Dragons with games with my friends on the weekends, and that's how I've been trying to intentionally create new and creative scenarios and have lots of fun with friends
Yeah.
and be social. So
Yep.
yeah, it's something that will activate your own passion. What are things that give you a spark of curiosity and a spark of interest? And maybe nothing is doing it right now and you need to try something completely and totally new.
Right.
I'll give an example of, and this is how I got into Dungeons and Dragons in the first place. So
Uh-huh.
I've never been a gamer before, okay? And I was in my internship as a therapist, and I was working really, really, really hard. And not a lot, and truthfully, almost all of the kids that I was seeing at the high school that I was interning at were all suicidal. And it wouldn't just be like one at a time. It would be like I'd show up and there would be 3 teenagers in crisis, and they were all legitimate crisis. And it was very, very difficult. And I got to the point where towards the end of the year, I set one foot on campus and I just started crying. And I called my boss. I was like, I can't do it, Denise. And she's like, go home. So I'm driving home and I said, God, I have tried everything that I can literally think of to get myself out of depression. And this is such a negative atmosphere and I am drowning. I'm going to say yes to the first new activity that you put in front of my face.
Yay!
I don't care what it is. I
Wow.
promise I will throw myself into it. I don't care what it is. I am saying yes, and I'm committing myself to saying yes. So choose wisely, God.
That's throwing yourself out there. Very good.
Yeah.
So what?
That's what I did, though.
I want to hear how it was presented to you.
Okay, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. So I went into And again, I am not a gamer, okay? And this is an embarrassing story, but it's hilarious. I went home and I didn't see any runners. I didn't see no joggers. I didn't see bikers. I didn't see any billboards. There was nothing. I was like, this is San Jose, California. This is like dead. I was like, this place is boring, apparently. Jeez Louise. So I got to my apartment and I'm telling myself, it's like, it doesn't matter. Now I have to go to the computer. And the first thing that comes up, like, apparently, like, I don't know, whatever it is. So I go to check my email and this big banner ad pops up on the screen for an online MMO. It's called it's a multiplayer.
I don't know what it is either, but
I got a multiplayer. I still don't even know what it means. This is embarrassing. So, I said to myself, does this count as a hobby? I guess it does. I guess I have to learn how to play a video game. And so I downloaded it and it said, now you have to make a character name and you have to make a character. And I'm like, okay. So every character name that I tried kept coming back saying, it's already been taken. It's already been taken. It's already been taken. I'm like, oh man, okay. So I am like, I'm going to meditate on this. My God, I said that I'm saying yes, and I'm just humoring you. Like, I'm humoring you, man. All right, what would be a good name? And I started hearing these words bubble up. The word eternity, but make it Latin, but make it feminine. And so I said, all right, and I put together something like that, and name worked. And okay, so this is an important point because this is an important point. So it takes me 3 days of people talking to me on this game, and I don't even know how to talk back. Like, I know nothing about what I'm doing, but it has gotten my mind off of the depression, which is great. And I'm just rolling with it. I'm like, I am 1000% into learning how to do these things as someone who has never done it before in my life. Whatever, it's fine. And so finally I figured out how to talk to people, and all you have to do is press the enter key. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
I hate those.
So embarrassing. I was so mad at myself, but it was funny. And I was legitimately having fun, so whatever. And someone asks me in games, like, are you into role play? And I was like, what kind of kinky thing is this that I do not need in my life? He's like, no, it's not like that. It's like you create a character and you're like imagining being in the book, basically, and you're writing with other people. And so that was, I said to myself, oh no, is this a hobby? Is this qualifying as a hobby? And I was like, yes, it does qualify as a hobby. Oh man, am I going to end up being a nerd in a guild? Like, what is happening here? What is going on? Okay. And I said, I've never tried it, but I'm willing to try it. Where do I go? It sends me to this website. I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm scrolling through the list of guilds, a list of role play guilds. And I'm just it's just hilarious. I'm like, what is my life coming to right now? What is my life coming to? And so I got to a guild that was had the name Eternity, but Latin and masculine. And I was like, well, that's just on the nose. That's just really on the nose, since my name was the word eternity, but Latin and feminine. So I was like, all right. So I applied to this online guild community, and I ended up meeting amazing friends, and that's where I ended up meeting my husband. And now we are also into Dungeons and Dragons, and we have a great time. And I'm like, okay, I'm a great nerd, and it got me. But that's where it was. I'd never tried anything like this before, and I told God, I was like, there's nothing that's giving me a spark anymore, and I am drowning, and I will try anything new that you put in my path. And so yeah, it's just an example of what Raheem is talking about. So that was my journey.
So yeah, that's those. That goes back to your, seekers after we're seekers after our own truth, and you followed that path, you followed that space, you activated, you got out and activated, and look what it, life presented you.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
I was reminding. Were you done with that?
I'm done.
That reminds me. There's more. We're gonna get more of those experiences, and that becomes our knowledge, our experience and knowledge, and the more we have of those experiences, that becomes that the term that I can't claim it for myself. The spiritual confidence.
Spiritual confidence, absolutely.
You're gonna know that there's more out there than just what's beyond your hands.
So I just saw a message from Gibson saying that the sound and video are out of sync.
Oops.
Oops.
Well, I sound okay. Let me see. Let me listen in on our conversation across the internet.
Excuse us while we test this really quick, you guys.
I hear me.
Okay.
I think it's some people's reception might be off because my.
Okay. Teresa says it's fine for her.
Okay. Yep. I think we're okay.
Okay.
Thanks for the notice, though.
Yes. Thank you. I always appreciate that.
Well, I haven't learned to impersonate being out of sync with myself to make people wonder.
All right. Other people are saying it's okay. So,
Cool.
all right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We're do something different. Oh yeah, we said that. Okay. Fun. Any more bits or pieces we want to?
I don't think so. Oh,
right.
The bit about chemo and radiation. Keep in mind that that trance was 20 years ago. So it was in 1995, and the medicine and the technology is really, really different. And so I don't want people to like hear that and think like, oh, that means that our current medical knowledge is trash too. Like, medical knowledge has come drastically, very, very, very much farther. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and there are different. Chemo is one form. There are other ways to deliver radiation in a very precise fashion within the physical body.
True.
Chemo was chemical liquid, if I recall properly, which goes like kind of all over, where now there are almost like ray gun kind of devices that can pinpoint the radiation energy to like specific spots, almost like what's the right term? Well, yeah, locating the energy, getting the energy to focus, not just to blast the entire physical body, but you're locating that energy to a specific location that they feel needs to be eradicated.
Absolutely.
That was
Absolutely.
fascinating to learn and watch about. Companies that are making these devices that create the the radiation energy, but the tools they use to focus that energy and get it to, it's almost kind of like a laser in a sense, because lasers focused energy, but it's not laser, which is light energy. So anyway, fun stuff.
Cool. Very cool.
Okay. Meditation.
All right.
For those of you that want to participate, now's time that we encourage you to sit with your feet flat on the floor and your palms upward on your lap to receive that wonderful healing energy and grace. And for those of you that need to pay attention to what you're doing, don't pay attention to us, but by all means come back and listen to these wonderful meditations in the on-demand when you can. Let's see. Oh, where do I hide these things? That's the one we're supposed to use. Okay, here we go.
Floofy's joining us.
Find a nice place to sit upright, with your feet flat on the floor, and your hands upward on your lap. Palms up. Now, take 3 deep breaths to start relaxing the mind and body. And now close your eyes when you're ready.
The next one is called the Healing Lab. Surround yourself with white, gold, and purple lights throughout your body and the whole atmosphere. Begin to breathe in very deeply and feel the power. When everything is relaxed, feel that you are opening up the very top of your head. Energy is coming through and spreading golden light all the way down through your head, face, and shoulders, as if it were golden chocolate or honey dripping slowly down your body, encompassing and healing you. And you feel such strength. You feel no fear or anxiety. You are breathing in and out, sensing a quiet peace. You feel the light drip down your back, your thighs, knees, and ankles. You are now suffused with a golden liquid feeling of quiet peace. Nothing disturbs you. Nothing bothers you. You are cocooned within this light. And I want you to feel the color blue. Blue is tranquil, peaceful, and calming. Now take a bright green light and put it right down the middle of your torso, where all your chakras are. Bring it through the pineal, the pituitary, thyroid, pancreas, and reproductive chakras. As the green light moves down, you relax even further. You are descending on an elevator now. 10. Feel yourself going deeper. 9. Nothing disturbs you. 8. The God consciousness is growing. 7. The Spirit is moving within you. 6. No illness is in your body. 5. Your breathing is regular. 4. Drop in. 3, 2, 1, 0. You get off the elevator, and there is a blue carpet that feels marvelous beneath your bare feet. You pad down the hallway until you get to the door. Knock, and it shall be opened to you, as Jesus said. Push open the door and enter a beautiful blue room. In the ceiling is a circular stained glass skylight with the colors of gold, green, white, purple, and blue. You walk into the room and you are very aware of a gurney in the center with a white sheet over it. You immediately hop on the gurney and lie there staring up at the beautiful stained glass, which begins to move, to rotate. And there is sunshine behind that stained glass. Now the colored rays of light hit you like pinwheels. First the blue, royal, strong, and calming. Gold, spiritual, high-minded. Purple, the highest form of all spirituality, bringing your God center intact. White, for purity in the Holy Spirit. Finally, green circulates through your whole body, healing every infected cell. Out of the shadows step your guides and doctors who can heal and administer to you. They lovingly approach the table and put their hands on you, holding and caring for you. They touch every affected area of your body, perhaps including places you're unaware of. In this healing lab, you are made vibrantly well by their hands. Allow the colors to spiral and circulate through your whole body. You can put anyone else who is ill into this lab, and through your visualization, they can experience the very same healing that you just did. You feel so at peace. There is nothing to fear. You're never really alone, although you may feel that way. May be born, live, and die unattended, but you are not alone. Our world is populated by spirits who love you, and by a God who can never stop loving you, who holds you constantly in the warmth of his heart. Also, a Christ consciousness emanates through you, and a Holy Spirit permeates every cell. Say to yourself now, I am healed and unafraid. I am fervently inspired. I am whole, positive, loving. I am healed and unafraid.
And now, on the count of 3, bring yourself all the way up. 1, 2, 3. Fully alert. Find a nice place to sit.
Wow.
Healing lab.
I thought that was like 10 minutes or something. I gotta go look and see how long that is. Man, I was like, oh, this feels so good. Is it gonna end? Oh, I thought, whoa, what's going on here? So, hello, you guys come back? Did you make it back?
Did you make it back?
That was an intense elevator ride. Oh, wow.
My cat is on my lap and he started twitching halfway through.
Oh, well, there's a disruption for you.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Says I need that meditation daily, and I agree.
Yeah, this will be out and available for you regularly for you. And to wake everybody up, if you have any questions about what we shared, feel free to post in chat or email us questions to kat@novus.org or tom@novus.org. We appreciate the listeners, both live and on demand. Show your appreciation for New Spirit Radio by sharing, promoting, liking, subscribing, ringing the bell, and making sure you get the announcements. Check out our websites, novus.org, sylviabrowne.com, chrisrightnow.com. On Facebook, yes, we are at Society of Novus Spiritus, Sylvia Browne Group, New Spirit Radio Show, and of course, many study groups for Novus Spiritus. On YouTube, we've got Society of Novus Spiritus. Chris's YouTube is Psychic Awareness, which he's been posting some fun shorts in addition to his live segments that he's got. So check those out. Study groups, yes, if you want to donate and get something, start a study group. You'll learn more about our philosophy, and you can check that out on our website. If you want to get something and then donate, you can join Amazon Smile and sign up for Society of Novus Spiritus to get the donations. Church services, ding, ding, ding. Next Sunday, I'm supposed to be posting a Sunday service, so check that out. Watch for it.
Whoa.
Or I put one at the beginning of this month, so those are out and available. Yes, I'll be playing a classic from Larry and Sylvia coming up. And if you want to participate in a live special Zoom service, post your email on the website novus.org, and you'll get notified when the next Sunday service Zoom session will be presented or hosted by Reverend Ellen Sloth. Now kind of it's time for the novena.
All right.
For those of you that are new, a novena is a special prayer. I will say the phrase, I am God, I am part of God, I am God. All things are possible because I am God. And we will all say it together. I'll say it, you just say it along with me. It doesn't matter when, where, how you are. Say it, because we're all putting out that energy at the same time. We'll say that phrase 3 times together, and then I'll tell you what we want to ask for at the end of each of those sessions here. So let's start. Picture all of us holding hands together in the same room or space, or however you want to envision us holding our hands together so we can spread that synergy around. All right, let's go with I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for yourself. Okay. Ready? I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for others. Okay. And the last one. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, picture our light going out like a beacon for others seeking this spiritual knowledge, and that they find our information. Wow. Okay. Talk
All
about
right.
appreciation. Yeah, show your appreciation to Francine and Rahim for researching all of this wonderful knowledge. And of course, Sylvia for coming to this insane asylum of the universe to start this movement and for showing us how to get some peace of mind and grace while we're here. Of course, Asna for helping us and protecting us while we're here. And Father God for providing the most prestigious school for us to experience, learn, and satisfy our unique spark of curiosity. Of course, Bob Ingold for helping with some graphics and the audio segments. And Sammy and Javon for the intro-outro music. For the show, writing, setup, hosting is MIT Catherine Taylor. Editing, technical direction, and hosting is Reverend Tom Bigley. And now I gotta set up a prayer. A prayer by Sylvia. Where'd we put those? Oh, this is a special one. That's what I said. We'll try that. And this. This is prayer for self-esteem.
Ooh.
If I would play it, that would work.
Prayer for self-esteem. Dear Mother and Father God, let my true essence shine through. Let my true beauty of my soul bloom in thy sight. Let the Christ consciousness show me not only my purpose, but also the estimation of my true self. Let me not be fettered by false ego, but rather allow me to bask in my own spiritual essence, which is my truth and my purpose. Do not allow me to fail by false guilt and false criticism. Let my essence magnify your will and help me live my life of spiritual service. Amen.
And Kat's gonna tell us.
We love you so much. Take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Good night.
For so long we have ignored you, as if you were not there. All praise went to the Father. We were so unaware that through the years you've shed your tears for all the pain we bear. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God. You've planted every blade of grass, creator of the stars. And when I'm feeling down and out, you mend my broken heart. So now I sing this song of thanks because of who you are. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God. You're more than a friend to me. You give me everything I need. In your peace you hold me tight. You are the bringer of the light. With no fear we boldly stand, because you hold this world in your hands. You are the truth. You are the hope and love we never knew. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God.